Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Today we are going to start the new year of my Pan Those eyeshadows for 2021, and that is so weird to not just say 2020 anymore. It's bizarre. Also, when you're seeing this, Happy New Year. I hope you guys are having an amazing New Year so far. The clock doesn't hit midnight and things don't just like automatically change, but I hope everyone is like gearing up to have a really great year for 2021. I know I'm going to try too. Some housekeeping things. I have my rules and regulations, but first, shout out to 𝙒𝙖 𝙒𝙢. I'm going to have her linked down in the description box and in the cards up above. She is the mastermind behind this Project Pan. She really did conceptualize and bring this idea into fruition, which was amazing. So if you are unfamiliar with this project, the premise of it is you have itemized every single eyeshadow pan in your collection into like a spreadsheet. You've written them all down somewhere. You could have them all on pieces of paper and put them into a fishbowl for all I care. Any way that you can randomly select the number or like the eyeshadow that you're going to be working on. I know there are a few different people doing this a few different ways. Some people pick the palette and then randomly generate the eyeshadow inside of that. Some people or randomly select the palette and then hand pick the eyeshadow. Some people hand pick the eyeshadows that they're going to pan. It is what it is. How I like to do this is I do structure it total roulette style. So I randomly generate a number. Mine will be numbers 1 through 529. That is how many eyeshadows I have in my collection. That does include eyeshadows with pans. So if we roll something that has pan in it, obviously we will re-roll into a new shade selection. So I've written down a couple notes in my Project Pan notebook because I want to make sure I stay on topic, and I have a tendency of so we're changing the project up from last year versus this year. So the first thing I want to just make note is last year, if you're coming from my project from 2020 straight into this one, if that's the only videos that you like on my channel, hi, welcome. I hope you'll stay around a little bit longer. But we are not doing 6 eyeshadows this year. We are only going to be doing 5, and that is namely because we're doing a couple other eyeshadow-centric projects this year on this channel, a Pan That palette, and then a fantasy self showdown. Again, if you haven't seen that collab with Haley, I will tag it in the description box and below in the cards. Shameless plugs. We are also changing it where we're not going to include loose and liquid eyeshadows in this project this year. Last year, we definitely did include my loose and liquid shadows. We're not doing it this year. My sole goal is to get my pan percentage up because things have changed in my pan percentage and it's drastically different than last year. If I roll any shade that's similar to a shade in my Subculture palette, I'm going to re-roll it. I contemplated going back and forth between a usage goal and not. I am going to have a usage goal of 20 uses. I am basing that number off of the average number of uses it took me to hit eyeshadow pan in my eyeshadows last year. Last year I had right around the 17 use mark is when I hit pan in my eyeshadows. Now, some eyeshadows are drastically harder to hit pan in than others. Some are drastically easier to hit pan in than others. So we're just going to round it up to an even 20 uses before I can roll shadows out. That being said, there's not going to be like a monthly, like I have to wait 2 months or I have to wait 3 months. If I use it 20 times, cool, get it gone, get it out. Let's rotate this stash. The last little note is there are shades in my collection that had pan in them and that I've repressed. Now, I no longer count those as having pan because they are repressed into like a flat surface. So my pan percentage numbers has drastically skewed from the 2020 finale, which was just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I believe I had an 11.81%, and now I think I have like a I have an 8.13 pan percentage. I've also taken out every shade that comes from my Subculture palette because one, I have pan in all of these shadows. They are not going to contribute to my pan percentage because shades would be used up, taken out of the numbers, and it would skew my numbers somehow. So I took these out of my rotation and out of my spreadsheet. Also, if you're curious what my spreadsheet looks like, I'm going to have it listed down below so you can kind of see and get an idea of numbers, what has pan, what doesn't have pan, and you can keep keep progress of this project that way if you are curious, if you're a numbers person. So that is all of like the introduction. I hope the intro wasn't too long. It was just, I wanted to give you some background on this project. I know many people probably already know what this project is, but I have a tendency of just diving into a project and not really explaining what it is. So I already have my pretty random app with the numbers 1 to 529, which is the numbers that are in my spreadsheet. So I have a hard time with the shaker working, so I'm just gonna hit the button. So 150, let's go take a look at what that is. Okay, so I rolled 150, but it's a shade that I have pan in. So I'm gonna re-roll for my first shade. And we're gonna go with 197. I am so sick of this freaking palette. It is unbelievable. This has been in my pan those eyeshadows for I think 3 times last year, but that is my BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. I am not gonna lie, I am so unbelievably sick of this palette, but I'm going to try to at least get my 20 uses. These pans are not terribly deep, so I don't think it'll take too long. I had the 3rd row, 7th column. Oh, so in my BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette, we have the 3rd column and it's 8 across, so 7th column. It's this guy here, which is just a deep matte. It has some sparkle in it, but I think it's going to perform just like a matte blue does. So this is going to be the first shade we roll into this project. I am excited to kind of pair this with some of my Fantasy Self shadows. So that is 2020's Pantone color of the year, which is just blue. The next shade we are going to pick is number 331. So shade 331 comes from my Nubian by Juvia's Place, and I'm actually really excited because I don't think I used this one time in 2020. And the shade we rolled in is the 1st row, 4th shade. So this guy here, which is an absolutely stunning shade. It's, I think, my favorite one in this palette, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh my gosh, that's going to pair so nice with that blue. I don't even know if you'll really be able to, oh yeah, you can see it. That is so stunning. Now, the 3rd shade is number 63. I rolled shade 63, which corresponds with a shade, one of my singles actually, which is in this giant Give Me Glow palette. That is actually the shade, what are you? Because I'm covering it up. Oh, I have pan in it. The shade that I rolled in was Sweet Beets, which is this shade here, which has pan in it. So we get to re-roll, baby. So the 3rd shade is going to be 300, hopefully. Oh my goodness. I'm excited to roll this one in. I'm beyond excited to roll this in. So the next shade comes from my Sailor Moon Pretty Guardian palette. Like, how cute are you? Can any guesses on the shade that I'm super excited about that's getting rolled in? It is this beautiful shade, Luna, which is my favorite in this palette. It is so stunning. I have a thing with these like duochrome kind of purple blues. So hopefully you can see that shade right there. That is Luna from the Sailor Moon Pretty Guardian palette. It is also like, ooh. So shade number 4 is going to be number 385. So 385 comes from my Zulu palette by Juvia's Place, and it's the 3rd column, or 3rd row first in there, and I think it's the, yeah, I don't like this shade that much, but that's fine. It is that guy there. It's just a shade I feel like makes me look sick. So that is this guy here. It doesn't have a shade name, but it's just a pretty bright pink with a really intense gold flip to it. So we will get some good use out of that palette. Okay, and then the last shade we are gonna roll in is 325. Okay, so the shade from the Savannah palette that I rolled in is extremely, or I guess, no it is. It's extremely similar to All Star in my Subculture palette. So I think I'm going to roll this out, but let me just compare them really quickly. That is my Anastasia. Well, I guess they're different enough. I'll keep it in. Plus, I think I can hit pan pretty easily in this, so I'm not too concerned. But yeah, this is the shade. It doesn't have a shade name, but I believe it's the dupe of Masai from the Safari palette by Natasha Denona. So we'll just swatch that real quick. All right, so that is this guy here. It's just a nice matte shade. I'm pretty excited about using these shadows. It's definitely a pretty wild mix to start the new year in a lot of color. I feel like I can make some really like moody January looks with this, especially because of this blue, like these first 3 shades. That is it. That is everything. Please let me know what you would do with this color story. It's really, really interesting. I feel like, again, this dark one and this purple, and then even the blue and the gold, and even like these two with that gold would look really pretty. But I would love to know your color suggestions. I really do try to do all of the suggestions that I see in the comments below. I really do try to do what you guys suggest. It's one of my favorite things, and I'm excited to share some looks with you this year throughout this project. Also, let me know if you like to see the looks when I talk about the shades, or if you want to see them in like a little slideshow. I know I asked it in like June of last year, but I'll leave a tagged comment so you guys can let me know just what you guys prefer. I also think I'm going to do it how I did for a brief time, where I list all of the shades I use so you can actually know what I use and where it's from, rather than just like, here's the looks I did with this, here's the looks I did with that. You can see the shades. But yeah, my camera's about to stop recording because we're at 22 minutes. So I hope you guys are doing well, staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I will catch you in the new year. Happy New Year's. Bye.